Hey, come here, check this out. So in this lesson, we're going to build off the last lesson and the last lesson. So in one lesson, I showed you how to do some speed techniques, moving your forearm. In the last lesson, I showed you how to pick dynamically with your left hand so that you can play 2-note per string shapes and 3-note per string shapes using the combination of the forearm movement, the combination of the picking movement, the combination of all the different techniques that we talked about in the last one, moving the fingers back and forth on the fretboard, and how to understand how to play fluidly, fast, and also making sure that everything is kind of tight and locked in. Today what we're going to do is we're going to take something called the anchor shapes, and I'm going to show you how to apply those to the scales and be able to play musically quickly. Okay, so without wasting too much time, first thing I want to tell you is that I do tell you a little bit more about the anchor shapes in my 7-day free course. It's over at justpickuptheguitarandgo.com, and my name is DH, and what we're going to do is we're going to look at the anchor shapes. And again, if you want to learn more, check out that free 7-day course. Again, it's at justpickuptheguitarandgo.com. But today what I want to show you more than anything else is how to take those anchor shapes and use techniques that I showed you in the last 2 lessons to apply speed to your anchor shapes. So by the end of this lesson, I'm hoping I can get you playing something like this. So they say cleanliness is next to godliness, and I'm not the cleanest player in the world, but I am getting there. I'm definitely no guitar god, but that's what I'm working on. So I want to help you work on it as well. So the anchor shapes that I'm showing you there are in the key of A minor, and we're playing this shape on the 6th string and the 5th string. Then we're playing a similar shape across the 4th string and the 3rd string, and a similar shape across the 2nd string and the 1st string. The shape that we're playing across the 6th string and the 5th string is going to be on the 6th string and then on the 5th string at 5, 7, 8, 5, 7, 8. And we can go ahead and do a variety of different combinations with that. But for right now, we're just going to look at that. Then I'm going to go back to the 6th string, and on the 6th string and the 5th string, I'm going to lock this in to the previous shape with the 7, the 8, and the 10 on both the 6th and the 5th string, 7, 8, 10. Now those are 2 anchor shapes. One is the first finger, ring finger, pinky shape. So on the 5th, 7th, and 8th, I'm playing the first finger, ring finger, pinky, and that's going to be across the 6th and the 5th strings. And then on the next shape, I'm playing the first finger, the middle finger, and the pinky across the 7th, the 8th, and the 10th frets of the 6th and the 5th strings. Now there's a little half-step pattern in there where I'm playing the 7th and the 8th on both the 6th and the 5th strings. And that pattern, which is that half-step pattern, is where these 2 shapes lock together like puzzle pieces. You're going to find this pattern in just about every scale shape. Unless it's a augmented scale shape or like a harmonic minor or something like that, you're going to see this there. But even those scale shapes have patterns. They're just slightly a little bit different. So let's go ahead and look at those 2 shapes across the 6th and the 5th strings and talk about how we can apply our speed techniques to that. So instead of playing like this with my wrist loose, we want to tighten everything up, move the forearm. If you're not sure what I'm talking about, I talked about that a lot in the last lesson. Choke up on my pick, make sure we get just a tip there. Okay, you could even do this kind of movement without even playing with the left hand and be able to play 3 notes on each string. And if you could do that with ease, then you can start adding in the left hand and start synchronizing your playing. So instead of playing like this, where I'm kind of sloppy, I want to tighten everything up. And of course I also palm muted, which I wasn't palm muting the first time. So I'm palm muting, and as you palm mute, as you move up the strings, we're going to move my forearm up so I can continue palm muting the upper strings. Instead of moving my wrist like this, where I'm not palm muting as much. I do see a lot of players playing like this, where they move their hand like this. For whatever reason, I can't get comfortable with this, so I keep fanning my fingers out. But I do believe there is a technique in there that I just haven't quite grasped yet, so something to play around with. So I'll even try that on the next one. I'm going to go on the 6th string, I'm going to go down, up, down. I'm playing 5, 7, 8, then the 5th string, up, down, up. See, the alternate picking is going to change as you go from string to string. Down, up, down, up, down, up. 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 And then after I play on the 5th string, up, down, up, I'm going to go to the 6th string, and I'm going to play 7, 8, 10. I'm going to play down, up, down, and then back to the 5th string, up, down, up. Then I'm going to repeat the same cycle. Now, when you get to the 5th string, when I play 7, 8, 10, you got to jump with that index finger back to that 6th string at the 5th fret. You may not want to do that. I may rather play a descending lick where I play up, down, up on the 7, 8, and 10, then down, up, down, and then move my finger here. So it's going to sound kind of like this. Notice that I'm using a legato and a slide technique. So I just did a down on the 7th fret, slide back to the 5th fret, and then that's going to let that ring out. So I did a down movement, now I can do an up movement when I land my ring finger on the 7th fret. And I'm back to that first shape. So it's going to sound like this the whole thing. Like that. Or you can go ahead and come up with your own variation. There's all kinds of different things that you could do in there. But I like the one where I just go ahead and bounce back and forth. So after I play that first shape, my index finger lands on the 7th fret of the 6th string. I play the next shape. Then my index finger lands on the 5th fret of the 6th string. I'll play the first shape again. That movement right there is going to take you a minute to get into your muscle memory. So you want to start with a slow metronome, a slow beat. Even turn down your distortion really low, right? So that you can go ahead and make sure it rings out cleanly. And then, of course, when you add distortion to it, you want to make sure you're not covering up mistakes with your distortion. You want to make sure that you're still tight, everything still sounds clean. And of course, all kinds of different variations. I can stay on one shape for a little while. I can do all kinds of different Paul Gilbert style licks, all kinds of different alternate picking, all kinds of legato, hammer-ons, all kinds of cool stuff. There's just all kinds of stuff in there. Now, going to the 4th and the 3rd strings, we're just playing the same thing. We're just playing it now an octave higher, and we're going to go ahead and play it on the 4th and the 3rd string at 7, 9, 10. Then locking in at 9, 10, 12. So I don't really have to show you too much more there because it's the same shape. It's just now we're moving to a higher set of strings. So the same thing, but we're going to go ahead and move my forearm forward. So instead of taking it from the 6th and the 5th string and moving down to that 4th string, I want to go ahead and go back to my 6th string shape, then move my forearm up. And now I'm in a position where I'm playing the exact same thing. I'm teaching my right hand that we don't have to change shapes and change pick angles to play the upper strings. We're going to go ahead and now change as I play. And then slowing it down, of course. I'm trying to practice this myself a little bit. you hear some noise from the other strings because I'm not palm muting the way that I need to be. So that's one of the things I need to focus on, right? So holding those strings down. There's just all kinds of different patterns you can do in there. And the last one will be on the first and the second strings at your 10, 12, 13. Then of course when you move to the index finger, middle finger, pinky shape, you go to 12, 13, 15. And it's the same shape. So again, you can apply those same patterns or all kinds of weird, wild variations to the upper strings. And of course you can come with all kinds of crazy different stuff. I'm not going to go into all the different stuff that you can go into because there's just so much in there. But you can go and play 2 note per string licks. And then going backwards, you can do the same thing. And that's all kinds of cool stuff in there because you're going across several different scale shapes. You can of course play all kinds of crazy fast leads, going all the way up and down the anchor shapes, right? There's all kinds of cool stuff in there. And then just use your imagination. You can play all different combinations. So again, all kinds of different variations in there. So just using those anchor shapes. Now what I like doing in the next lesson, so if you're following along with me and you're playing with these things, then what I like to do in the next lesson is actually show you something that I did in a recent song where I use these anchor shapes to do some really cool tapping. And then also stuff like this. So that little run right there that I did going up and down, which took me a minute to get it cleaned in the song, but it's that song that I did called Love is a Paradox. That little tapping lick that I did is basically in those shapes. So if you want to go ahead and be able to apply across the string tapping, then stay tuned for the next lesson because I'm going to go ahead and break some of that down. And of course, it just takes practice, takes time to get used to how to do all this stuff. But again, I'm learning this stuff. I want to kind of bring you along with me because I think it's really cool. I think it's really neat. So keep checking back for more. And I do appreciate you watching this lesson. I've got lessons on here every Sunday and Wednesday. I got a free course out there, a 7-day free course to help you unlock the fretboard. It's at justpickuptheguitarandgo.com. So if you check that out, it's going to give you a 7-day step-by-step course that shows you where a lot of these scale shapes are. And I give you the free course because I want you to see not only all the other stuff that I got out there, but also to help you understand what the foundation is for the way that I teach my lessons, which is something called the Star Guitar Method, which I think that is pretty unique to the way that I teach. So I want you to have that foundational course. So just pickuptheguitarandgo.com for that. And then also in the comments, let me know what is your current warm-up routine. Some people do a lot of non-musical stuff like this. And I have shown some techniques like this in the past before. I also believe not only non-musical stuff is good for your warm-ups, but also it's a good idea to play within the scale shapes. Kind of helps your fingers know where to go, and sometimes that non-musical stuff can help you play better, but sometimes it might get in the way. So I'm just curious, what is your go-to warm-up technique that you're currently using? And if it's something you learned from me, let me know, because I like to say thanks for using that. If it's not, then let me know something that's better, because I might want to check that out myself. But anyway, let me know in the comments what your current warm-up technique is. And again, I appreciate you checking out this lesson. I'll see you in the next one.